With the soldiers' lack of willingness to fight and the attack on the Crimea Bridge, Russian President Vladimir Putin has experienced the opposite of what he had anticipated. The cause of the explosion is still unknown, despite the predictions of specialists like retired British Army officers and Major General Tim Cross, that Russia itself made the error. According to Cross, this explosion may have been caused by Russian troops when they moved their military explosives. However, the Russian army is also showing no desire in engaging in combat, so this may be also part of their plan. According to Russian news reports published on Saturday, the tragedy claimed the lives of 3 people, and officials are now considering filing a criminal complaint. As a result, given that Ukraine is consistently providing an impactful response to the invading countries, the news stories may be attributable to that attack as well. The Russian president, who is seen beaming while praising the opening of this bridge in 2018, ultimately failed to defend it. Being a direct link between Russia and Crimea, it will cause a scorching patch to appear over Russia. Even though General Sergei Surovikin, a new commander, was appointed to lead the Ukrainian forces immediately after the crisis, this upheaval will sever the Russian army's ties to its homeland. According to the satellite, one of the bridge's lanes has been destroyed, with a portion of it sinking into the water, while the other has been burning for a considerable amount of time. Finally, there is only one heavily guarded part left for transportation. According to TASS news agency, it is believed that the 15 cars had been crossed throughout the time gap, causing underlying damage. The Ukrainian Security Service, SBU, issued the stanza of Taras Shevchenko, saying, "Dawn, the bridge is burning beautifully." When interviewing Russians, they handle the matter in a few different ways. One person asserted that Russia should destroy the Ukrainian railways, which it utilizes to obtain assistance from the United States, while the other person discussed how the war is wrong and people should focus on negotiation. The officer on the live channels has recently been seen telling how the metals and construction personnel have been assembled to eventually fix the bridge in the late hours of Sunday evening. This has caused a significant slowdown since only 60 cars has been reported going in one direction. This will raise the cost even further, particularly as Saudi Arabia shakes hands with Russia while demonstrating its influence over the OPEC+ energy cartel's throne. This agreement on a significant output cut is a new key tactic in the game of vengeance, since it has been speculated that it is their responsibility to drag Europe and the United States to their knees. Additionally, this confrontation will evolve now that Ukraine is pushing Russia out of its southern area, while Moscow is unable to respond. But will this be restricted to only the fights over bridges and inflation? This is the first time the Russian president has displayed his country's nuclear strength and weaponry since the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, which has caused the entire world, particularly Ukraine, to consider a serious defense. Therefore, the alternative strategy appears significant when a large flame that was eating vehicles was captured by a surveillance camera. However, there is still no information on the identity of the driver or whether they were aware of the bombs inside. Considering what Ukrainian President Mikhailo Podolyak's advisor tweeted, "Crimea, the bridge, the beginning. Everything illegal must be destroyed. Everything stolen was returned to Ukraine. All Russian occupiers expelled." The elimination of this crucial supply channel will have huge ramifications and provoke competing ideas, especially given the tanks and artillery weaponry that are rushing to position themselves near Kherson to meet their Russian goal. Sergei Aksyonov, the Russian governor of Crimea, discussed the same rivalry and remarked that it is a manageable condition for them and has instead triggered a healthy desire to seek revenge. Russian defense authorities are discussing how the forces will be supplied with the requirements using the existing land and sea channels, as the peninsula is said to have at least 2 months' worth of food at the moment. The destruction of 5 homes and a 9-story building as a result of the 12 Russian missile attacks, according to Alexander Staruk, makes the explosion of the new bridge seem like a victory for Ukraine. According to information released by Ukrainian authorities, this attack on Zaporizhia resulted in the deaths of 17 persons. With that, 49 people, including 6 children, are reportedly hospitalized. This attack is seen as a severe defeat for Putin, particularly since it occurred soon after his 70th birthday. Following this unambiguous warning, the U.S. president described how the tactical deployment of nuclear weapons will result in outcomes that cannot be distinguished from Armageddon at his private fundraiser event a few days ago. After that, a White House spokesperson said they didn't think it was particularly logical to adjust our strategic nuclear posture. They also stated that they do not think Putin's plan to use a nuclear bomb is about to be carried out. However, this is concerning because the doomsday clock has been set at 100 seconds at midnight since 1947. Not only that, but long before the Russian invasion had occurred, atomic scientists had already stated that our world sits at the doorstep of doom. Researchers with the Federation of American Scientists believe that we are once again acting irrationally, much as we did in the 1980s and 1970s, as a result of rising inflation, economic crises, and nuclear situations. Hans Christensen, however, discussed how Biden may have felt overly anxious about the matter due to the repeated criticism of Putin's assertions, particularly after Vladimir told the world that he is not faking the nuclear strike. However, things are getting out of hand now after the tense event on the bridge, particularly in light of Biden's assertion that former President Donald Trump's hasty decision to dismantle the intermediate-range nuclear forces, which have been in place for 3 decades, will introduce new variables. People were wondering if the Russian government was using this as the weapon of the apocalypse when the news of the Belgorod nuclear submarine K-329 drone floating back into the sea surfaced a few days ago. It also gives us the chills because it has reportedly vanished from the Western tracking system. Could it be the next target for retaliation since that advanced American reconnaissance satellites have failed to locate it?